Hi class and welcome back. So now we're moved on to our next worksheet. So you can see we started off with I believe like 3 or 4 worksheets, and now we're up to 6 worksheets. This next one should be fairly straightforward and fairly easy and kind of fun. So now we're working on the grades worksheet, and remember these are all worksheets in the overall CISC150 Excel example workbook. Again, I'm going to change this to zoom out to 150. Hopefully that'll make it easier for you to see. All right, there we go. So now what we want to do is we want to compute the min, max, and average for homework 1 and average for Pebbles. So if we look at right here, this is going to be homework 1 for the min. And I always start off with my formulas using in the home tab. If you go up here to the auto sum and click that little arrow to the right of it, you'll see that there's sum, average, count numbers, max, and min. So these are the really common formulas that you'll use. Anything beyond that, you can click this more functions, but since min is here, let's click on min. And then just like before with auto sum, this will give us, Excel will try to guess at what cells we want. So we're just going to update B2 to B10 to be B2 down to B8. And then you'll see that automatically gets the minimum score for us. In this particular case, it wasn't too hard to look up here and see that 54 was the smallest number. But if you have an Excel sheet that has hundreds of rows, that would be pretty convenient for you. Let's do the same thing for max. So it's thinking we just want B11, but in actuality we want B2 to B8. Update that, and 94, and that looks good. And now we're going to do the down arrow again, and we're going to do an average. And it thinks it wants B11 to B12. In actuality, we want B2 to B8. Okay, so that's 72. And then now let's do the average for Pebbles. So we're going to come over here and do average. This time, instead of going down, what we're going to do is go across, and Excel was smart enough to figure that out for us. Okay, so 79.5. So now that we have this step 1 completed, now what we can do is use that autofill for homeworks 2 through 4. And if we look at this, we can pull this over, and that looks pretty good as far as we're doing the minimum of C2 to C8. So remember, as we move over, relative reference will take the letter from this column and it'll increase it by 1 since we went 1 column over. But since we didn't went across the row, the numbers will be the same. It did the same thing for max and the same thing for average. Let's do, and if you want to, if you highlight these numbers, we can just say you could dial your numbers up or down as far as the decimals. And if we want to, we can just say make it 1 decimal place here. Right, for average, we could do the same thing. And we can just drag this guy down. Okay, and now we have our averages. Then we could decrease our decimal place and increase it 1 spot. Okay, so that's our autofill for homework 2 through homework 4 and the remaining students. So this looks okay as is right now, but what I love to show you is how I like to make things kind of pop so that when you're looking at this, it makes it visually easy to look at these numbers. What I will typically do is I will put a border, thin border, around all of the numbers. So in this particular case, it'll be A1 down to, should be F13, not F14, so I'll make sure I fix that. And then up here in font, under the Home tab, Font Group, you'll see this little like kind of grid looking thing, and this is our border selection. So what we can do is we can grab this guy and just put all borders. So now that's going to put our little grid lines on there for us. Okay, so now we can apply a thick border from A1 to F1. So we're going to do a thick box border. Okay. Now you can see it's a little bit darker in here. And then I'm going to apply bold formatting A1 to F1. Okay. So now it really starts making it stand out. What I even like to do as well for the header rows at least is do some sort of gray fill. So in A1 to F1 here, we can do just pick any shade of gray. I usually don't get it too dark because now it kind of ruins the contrast with the black. So it's something like this kind of makes it really, kind of pop out and make those guys look a little bit different. Highlight. And now we're going to apply a thick border from A1 to A13. A1 to A13. Thick black border. And then also for B1 to F13. Okay. So now these kind of really start standing out. If you wanted to, you can even gray out any unused cells. Okay. So now we can see that all these really start standing out really nicely. So one of the things that we can do in Excel is that we can do a sort. But you have to really be careful when you sort with Excel. Right now, if we just grab like name and our students, if we sorted this, it's only going to sort column number A here. It'll leave all these numbers the same. So at that point in time, we would essentially be giving persons other people's grades. So some people might like that and some people might not like that. So if you want to sort all these together, what we could do is grab A1 down to F8. Now we can come over to sort and filter, and then we could do a custom sort. And this will automatically pull up sort by name values, and right now it's going to do it descending, but we want to do it ascending. So that means we're going to have to go A to Z. Now if we click OK, you'll see that all of the numbers moved with the persons. So Pebble stayed the same, but Elroy, Judy, and all these others all moved around. But by us selecting A1 through F8, they all moved together with their respective rows. Alright, so that completes this worksheet, and then we'll tackle site stat on the next video. Alright, see you guys in a bit.